What if the person you love most is the one you're destined to destroy? This isn't a hypothetical question. It's the heartbreaking reality for characters in some of the most devastating romance manga ever written. Stories that don't just make you cry, they make you question everything you know about love, sacrifice, and the human heart. Today, I'm going to take you deep into 3 such tales. Tales that broke millions of readers. Tales that became legendary, not for their happy endings, but for their brutal, beautiful honesty. But be warned, once you know these stories, you can never unknow them. They change you. But here's the secret no one tells you. Hidden within these tragic love stories is something darker. A twist so shocking it made readers throw the book across the room. A revelation so cruel it haunted them for weeks. I'm talking about plot twists that redefine betrayal, about endings that feel less like conclusions and more like emotional earthquakes. Why did the author choose this pain? What were they trying to say about our world? The answer is more disturbing and more fascinating than you think. And this leads to the ultimate controversial question. Can true love justify anything? Even self-destruction? Even cruelty? These manga dare to answer yes, and they present their case with such raw emotion that you're forced to agree, even as your heart breaks. If you're ready for a journey into the deepest, darkest corners of fictional love, stories that racked up millions of views online because they touched a universal nerve, then do not look away. Your first story begins now. Why are we drawn to stories that make us suffer? To fictional characters whose pain becomes our own? It's because the greatest romance manga understand a fundamental truth. Love and loss are 2 sides of the same coin. You cannot have the sublime joy of one without the terrifying risk of the other. Today, we're not just reviewing manga. We're dissecting 3 masterpieces of emotional storytelling that dominated online forums, sparked endless debates, and live rent-free in the hearts of readers worldwide. They are more than comics, they are experiences. Let's set the scene for our first story. Imagine a sun-drenched classroom, the smell of chalk dust, the sound of rustling pages. 2 students, Hikaru and Yuko, share a secret glance. It's a classic beginning, sweet and innocent. This manga, titled The Day You Vanished, starts as a simple school romance. Hikaru is the quiet artist. Yuko is the cheerful girl who sits by the window. Their love story blooms through exchanged notes and shy smiles after school. It's idyllic. It's perfect. And that perfection is the trap. But the first crack appears early. Yuko has a habit of disappearing. She'll miss school for days, returning with a vague smile and tired eyes. Hikaru, deeply in love, accepts her excuses. Family issues, she says. He wants to believe her. The art style shifts subtly during these moments. The warm colors drain, the panels feel emptier. The reader feels Hikaru's unease. Then, he finds a prescription bottle in her bag. Not for her, for a powerful antipsychotic. The name on the label is unfamiliar. Who is this medicine for? Hikaru confronts Yuko not with anger, but with fear. And here, in a breathtaking, silent 2-page spread, the truth is revealed without a single word. We see Yuko's memory, a younger version of herself, sitting in a sterile room, holding the hand of a catatonic young man, her brother. The medicine is for him. She's been caring for him alone since their parents died. Her disappearances are shifts at a grueling part-time job to pay for his care. Her bright personality? A shield. The weight of this revelation is immense. Instead of running, Hikaru makes a promise. Let me help you carry this. It's the most romantic moment in the story, and also the beginning of its tragedy. He steps into her world of hospital visits, financial stress, and silent, heavy dinners. The manga brilliantly contrasts the lightness of their school life with the crushing gravity of her reality. Their love becomes a lifeline, but a question forms in the reader's mind. Can a love born from pity and responsibility survive? Or is it doomed from the start? The brother's condition has a name, Cocard syndrome. He believes he is already dead. In a haunting scene, he speaks to Yuko. Why do you keep visiting a corpse? This belief is the core of the manga's central metaphor. Yuko feels she is also living a half-life, tethered to a ghost. Hikaru becomes her connection to the world of the living. Their romance is her rebellion against death itself. The tone shifts from melancholic to desperately hopeful. They make plans for a future, a small apartment, a life together. The first major tragedy strikes not with a bang but a whisper. Yuko's brother passes away peacefully in his sleep. There is relief, but also a terrifying void. Yuko's entire identity for years has been the caretaker. Without that role, who is she? In a devastating panel, she looks at herself in the mirror and doesn't recognize the person staring back. Hikaru tries to fill the emptiness, but he can't. This is the story's first masterstroke, showing that sometimes being saved from one prison simply traps you in another. Yuko begins to withdraw. The vibrant girl is gone, replaced by a quiet, hollow shell. Hikaru, scared and clinging to their old promises, proposes. He thinks a new commitment, a new future, will anchor her. She says yes, but her eyes are empty. The wedding planning feels like a funeral march. The art uses colder blues and grays. In a symbolic scene, Yuko tries on her wedding dress, a pure white gown, but the reflection in the mirror is blurred, as if she's already fading away. 1 week before the wedding, Hikaru finds Yuko's old diary. He knows he shouldn't read it, but desperation wins. The entries are a punch to the gut. She writes about her love for Hikaru, yes, but she also writes, I am so tired. I want to rest. My brother is finally free. When will it be my turn? And the final, soul-crushing entry, I will marry Hikaru. It is my last duty. Then I can go. He realizes the terrible truth. Her yes wasn't a new beginning. It was her final act of setting her affairs in order. Hikaru confronts her, not with accusations, but with tears. He begs her to stay, to fight, to see a future with him. Yuko, for the first time in chapters, looks at him with clear, peaceful eyes. I'm sorry, she says, but my love for you was the only beautiful thing in my life. Let it stay beautiful. Don't make me ruin it by staying. The next day, she is gone. Not dead, she explicitly avoids that final tragedy for him. She simply vanishes, leaving behind the wedding dress and a single note. Thank you for loving a ghost. This manga broke readers because it subverted the love conquers all trope. It argued that some wounds are too deep, some burdens too heavy, even for pure love to heal. Hikaru was a good person. His love was real, and it wasn't enough. That's a terrifying adult truth. The story went viral because it validated a hidden fear many people have, that we might be fundamentally unfixable, or that our love might be powerless to save someone we cherish. It's tragedy, not from malice, but from exhausted inevitability. If this story resonated with you, if it touched that part of you that knows love isn't always a fairy tale, then do me a favor. Smash that like button right now. Let me know you're here for these deep, emotional dives, because we're just getting started. The next story is even more controversial. It doesn't ask if love can save someone. It asks, what if love itself is the disease? A love so obsessive, so all-consuming, it becomes a nightmare for everyone it touches. That's next. Our second story is a psychological thriller disguised as a romance. It's called Your Smile Belongs to Me. Meet Kaito, a brilliant, lonely archivist who works in a museum of ancient artifacts. He believes true beauty is rare and must be preserved. Then he meets Sora, a barista with a laugh that sounds like wind chimes. To Kaito, she isn't just a person. She is the most perfect, living artifact he has ever seen. And he becomes determined to preserve her. Kaito's POV is seductive and terrifying. The manga makes us see Sora through his eyes. Every gesture is art, every emotion a masterpiece. He begins to document her. Photographs, seemingly innocent at first, notes on her routines, recordings of her voice. He rationalizes it as admiration, as love. He gets a job at her cafe. He becomes her friend. The reader is trapped in his mind, feeling his obsession grow while screaming at Sora to run. The genius here is that the romance, from Kaito's side, feels genuine and intense. Sora has a boyfriend, a kind, normal man named Kenji. To Kaito, this is an act of vandalism. Kenji is corrupting his perfect artifact. In a chilling internal monologue, Kaito thinks, a painting must be kept in a climate-controlled room. Why do we think a soul needs less care? He doesn't get angry. He gets methodical. He starts sabotaging their relationship. Anonymous notes suggesting Kenji is cheating. Misdirected texts. He plays the comforting friend to Sora, all while carefully pulling her away from the world. It works. Sora, heartbroken and vulnerable, leans on Kaito. He becomes her sole confidant. He curates her world, recommends books that preach isolation, music that glorifies melancholy, films about two people against the world. He's not imprisoning her body. He's architecting her mind. The manga's art transforms Sora. She becomes paler, softer, like a painting fading. Her vibrant clothes are replaced with whites and grays that Kaito buys for her. She is becoming his collection. The inciting incident is the arrival of Sora's younger sister, Akari. She's loud, colorful, and immediately suspicious of Kaito. She sees the emptiness in her sister's eyes. She calls Kaito out. You're not her friend, you're her curator. This confrontation breaks Kaito's careful facade. For the first time, we see raw panic in him. His perfect environment is threatened. He must remove the variable. He must remove Akari. What follows is a textbook, horrifying campaign of gaslighting. He manipulates Sora into believing Akari is jealous, unstable, trying to break up their special bond. He uses Sora's own grief over her failed relationship as proof that only I understand you. In a brutal sequence, we see simultaneous panels. Akari frantically trying to reach her sister on the phone, and Sora sitting calmly with Kaito, ignoring the calls because he's convinced her it's for the best. The reader feels utterly helpless. Akari, desperate, follows them to a remote coastal cliff path. A confrontation ensues. Kaito, in a moment of protecting Sora from Akari's hysteria, pushes Akari away. She loses her footing. The fall is slow, silent, and depicted in a horrific, beautiful two-page splash. She survives, but is left in a coma. And Kaito, holding a sobbing Sora, whispers the final nail in the coffin. See? Her obsession almost killed you. I had to protect you. Sora's last connection to her old life is severed. The final act is a quiet horror. Sora moves in with Kaito. His apartment is a minimalist white prison. He has everything she needs. She rarely leaves. She calls it peace. He calls it love. The manga ends not with escape or justice, but with a series of mundane, terrifying panels. Sora watering a plant, her expression blank. Kaito smiling, satisfied, looking at her like a completed sculpture. The last line is his. Finally, you are perfectly preserved. The love story is complete. The monster has won. This story went viral for its brutal portrayal of obsessive love. It forces us to ask, when does devotion become possession? When does protection become prison? Kaito never sees himself as a villain. He's the hero of his own romance. That's what makes it so disturbing. It resonated because everyone has felt possessive jealousy, the desire to be someone's everything. This manga takes that feeling to its logical, monstrous extreme. It holds up a mirror and shows us the potential predator inside the passionate lover. So we've seen love that couldn't save and love that became a cage. Our final story combines these themes into something even grander and more devastating. It asks, what if a love was so powerful it literally broke the world? Not a metaphor. I mean, it shattered reality, rewrote time, and doomed millions for the sake of one person. This is a story of cosmic scale tragedy, the ultimate "what would you do for love" scenario. This is the Clockwork Heart of Sakura. The Clockwork Heart of Sakura is a fantasy epic. The world is governed by the Great Gear, a literal cosmic mechanism that ensures order, seasons, life, and death. Everyone has a lifespan wound into their being from birth. Our hero Ren is a clockwork warden, a guardian of this order. He is logical, detached, and believes in the system completely. Then he meets Sakura, a girl whose clock is broken. She is chaos incarnate. Flowers bloom out of season where she walks. Time stutters around her. Sakura is an anomaly, a glitch in the system. Ren's duty is to report her for recalibration, a gentle term for erasure. But he can't. He's fascinated. She shows him a world beyond cold order, the beauty of a random breeze, the joy of a moment not dictated by a schedule. They fall in love in a world that literally cannot allow her to exist. Their romance is built on stolen, unstable moments. The art is breathtaking, mechanical, gray panels for Ren's world, bursting into chaotic, watercolor beauty when Sakura is near. The system detects Sakura. The overseers, faceless guardians of the gear, come to correct the error. They give Ren a choice: oversee her erasure himself, or be deemed corrupted and erased alongside her. This is the crux of the story. Ren doesn't just choose Sakura. He chooses chaos over order, love over logic, the individual over the universe. In a defiant act, he doesn't run. He takes her hand and smashes his warden's seal, the device that connects him to the Great Gear. This act isn't just rebellion. It's a catastrophic system failure. Ren wasn't just a user of the system. He was a foundational part of it. By breaking his connection with such violent intent, he cracks the Great Gear itself. Reality begins to unravel. Seasons spiral out of control. Time flows backward in some places, forward too fast in others. The overseers panic. Ren and Sakura watch in horror as their act of love doesn't just free them, it dooms their entire world to entropy and chaos. The manga then does something brilliant. It doesn't glorify their love. It shows the immense, horrifying weight of it. Sakura looks at the crumbling sky and whispers, "What have we done?" They are now the most loved and the most hated beings in existence. They are together, yes, but they are also fugitives in a dying world responsible for its agony. Every moment of happiness is shadowed by the screams of a universe coming apart at the seams. Their love is the world's cancer. The overseers present a solution. The gear can be repaired, but it needs a new, stable heart. A heart made of pure, self-sacrificial love to anchor the chaos. One of them must willingly become that heart, a living, eternal component, conscious but trapped, feeling the turning of the gears forever. It is a fate worse than death, eternal, solitary purpose. Sakura immediately volunteers. She caused this chaos with her existence. She will fix it. Ren refuses. They argue, each willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for the other. In the climax, Ren pretends to agree. They go to the core of the gear for the ritual. As Sakura prepares to offer herself, Ren kisses her and then uses his last shred of authority to forcibly put her into a deep, timeless sleep. "I love you too much to let you suffer forever," he says. He then turns to the overseers and completes the ritual himself. We see his body dissolve into light, transforming into crystalline clockwork, merging with the broken gear. He saves the world. He saves her. He loses everything. The world is saved. Order is restored. Sakura awakens decades later, preserved by Ren's last act. The world is green and peaceful, but it's a cursed peace. She soon discovers the horrifying truth. Ren's consciousness isn't gone. He is the great gear now. She can feel him in the turning of the seasons, in the rising of the sun. He is everywhere, and he is nowhere. He is a god and a prisoner. And worst of all, the system now runs on his love for her, a love that is now a fundamental, torturous law of physics. The final chapters are Sakura's life in this new world. She can never love another. The universe itself would reject it. She lives with the constant, gentle whisper of Ren's presence, a presence that can never hold her, never speak to her. She tends a garden where the flowers bloom in perfect mechanical order. The final panel is of an old Sakura smiling a sad, peaceful smile at a sunset, knowing it is him, spinning the sky for her. It is the most beautiful, most heartbreaking form of togetherness and loneliness imaginable. This story broke the internet because it took romantic hyperbole, "I'd move heaven and earth for you," and made it literal, with all the catastrophic consequences. It explores love as a force of creation and destruction. Ren's love was so absolute it broke reality, and then became the new reality. It asks, is a love that dooms the world still beautiful? Is a love that becomes your eternal prison still worth it? The manga provides no easy answers, only the breathtaking, terrible image of love as the engine of the cosmos itself. What do all three stories have in common? They understand that the deepest love carries the highest price tag. The day you vanished, the price is letting go. Your smile belongs to me. The price is your freedom, or your humanity. Clockwork Heart, the price is the world itself. These aren't stories about finding the one. They're stories about what you're willing to pay once you've found them, and the bill always comes due. Psychologically, these stories spread like wildfire because they tap into our deepest anxieties about connection. The fear of being inadequate to save someone. The fear of being consumed by a lover's obsession. The fear that our most powerful emotions could have catastrophic consequences. By giving these fears a narrative form, the manga make them manageable, discussable. We cry, we share, we debate. What would I do? They become more than stories. They become psychological safe zones to explore our darkest what-ifs. From a craft perspective, notice the tools. Foreshadowing, the medicine bottle, the curated music, the broken clock, sympathetic monsters, Kaito loves sincerely, elevated stakes, personal, psychological, cosmic. Ambiguous endings, no neat happily ever afters, only complex, emotionally truthful conclusions. These manga respect the reader's intelligence. They don't provide catharsis through victory, but through profound, shared understanding of loss. So what's the message? After all this pain, is the message just love hurts? No. The message is more profound. These stories tell us that love is the most powerful force in human experience. So powerful, it can define a life, warp a mind, or reforge a universe. With that power comes immense responsibility and inevitable risk. To truly love is to accept that risk. It might end in quiet goodbye, in gilded captivity, or in cosmic sacrifice, but the stories argue, in their heartbreaking way, that the experience, the connection itself, is what makes us truly alive. And this leads me to my question for you. In the comments below, I want you to answer this. Which price would you be most willing to pay for a true, profound love? Letting go like Hikaru? Being consumed like Sora? Or sacrificing your very existence like Ren? There are no right answers. This is a safe space for raw, honest discussion. Your stories and perspectives are what make this community amazing. I read as many comments as I can, and I promise to pin some of the most thoughtful ones. We've journeyed through 3 landscapes of the heart today. From the melancholic realism of a love burdened by duty, to the psychological horror of love as possession, to the epic fantasy of love as a world-altering force. Each story, in its own way, is a masterpiece not because it makes us happy, but because it makes us feel with such staggering intensity. They remind us that we are capable of emotions so vast they can fill entire universes, or leave us hauntingly empty. In a world saturated with quick disposable content, these manga stand as monuments to slow, emotional investment. They ask for your tears, your frustration, your weeks of contemplation. And in return, they give you something priceless, a deeper understanding of your own heart's capacity. They make you more human. That is the magic of tragic romance. It doesn't just show you love, it shows you love's shadow, its cost, its terrifying, beautiful power. Thank you for spending this time in the depths with me. If you're new here, my mission on this channel is to explore the stories that don't just entertain us, but change us. The manga, anime, and novels that leave permanent marks on our souls. If that sounds like your kind of journey, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Because next week, we're diving into something just as intense, a deep analysis of horror manga that don't use jump scares, but existential dread to paralyze readers. Imagine a horror story where the monster isn't a ghost or a creature, but a single, inescapable idea. A philosophical concept so terrifying it drives people insane. A manga where the pages themselves seem to warp as you read it. That's what we're tackling next. It's already written, and I can't wait to share that descent into terror with you. Before I go, remember this. The stories we choose to consume, especially the painful ones, shape our emotional vocabulary. They give us language for feelings we didn't know we had. They build empathy for experiences we may never live. By seeking out and sharing these tragic romances, we're not just being a fan. You're participating in a grand human conversation about the nature of love itself. And that is a beautiful thing. So keep reading, keep feeling, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Because in that hurt is the undeniable proof that you can care deeply, that you are capable of a love as vast and complex as the stories we discussed today. You are the reason these manga exist. Your heart is their true canvas. Soft, melancholic piano music begins to fade in. For the final minute, I'll leave you with some of the most stunning, heartbreaking artwork from these three manga, set to a gentle score. No more words from me, just the images that haunted their creators, and now perhaps will haunt you in the best possible way. Let the emotion sit with you. It's okay. The final minutes were always the hardest for Hikaru. Not the remembering, but the quiet. The empty space beside him where a future used to sit. He learned that grief isn't a single storm, but a climate, a permanent weather of the soul. He never stopped loving her. He learned to love the ghost, to find beauty in the imprint she left on the world, like a fossil in stone. He became a teacher. In every quiet student, he saw a flicker of her. He never married, but in his garden, he grew her favorite flowers. They bloomed, withered, and returned every year. A cycle, a different kind of promise. Sora lived in the White Room for 23 years. One morning, she saw a spider weaving a web in the window corner. It worked with a chaotic, desperate grace. It was the first uncontrolled thing she'd seen in decades. That afternoon, she put on a coat, a bright red one she found in a forgotten box. She walked out. Kaito was at the market, curating the perfect apples. She left the door unlocked. She didn't run. She simply stepped out of the frame. The city was a riot of noise and color. It was terrifying. It was alive. She took a bus going anywhere, and for the first time in forever, she made a choice no one had preserved for her. Sakura tended the garden until her hands were old and the seasons turned with mechanical perfection. On the day her own clock finally wound down, she lay in the grass. The sun was setting in a masterpiece of orange and purple, a sunset he painted for her, every day, forever. She didn't feel sadness. She felt a profound, quiet completion. As her breath slowed, she felt the gears of the world turn, gentle and immense. A familiar presence, vast and warm, holding the universe together. Holding her. "I'm coming," she whispered, "not to the sky, but to the machinery of existence itself. Wait for me in the chaos." Her eyes closed, and somewhere, in the heart of the great gear, a single eternal pulse glowed a little brighter. The story ends, not with an ending, but with a return. A love story had become the law of the world. And in that law, there was no goodbye,